Hello and welcome to Classical Celebration. I'm Andy Rindle, the Executive Director for your Westmoreland Symphony Orchestra, and we are so thrilled to be with you here today. I am joined by Artistic Director Daniel Meyer. Daniel, how are you?
I'm doing great, Andy. I'm really excited about this coming season, of course, number one, because we're going to have the whole orchestra back together on the stage at the Palace Theater. And number two, oh, boy, have we missed having a live audience. So this year is exciting because we're going to have, our very true and faithful concert goers in the Palace Theater and also watching us at home on a live stream. So you can really choose the way that you want to experience the Westmoreland Symphony this season.
It's always good to have choices, especially nowadays. Everyone's comfortability might be a little bit different. So we're thrilled that we can offer all those options for folks. I think, Daniel, if we could take a step back, though, I think it goes without saying just how grateful and humbled we really have been and felt, really through the past number of months, just by the community support and hearing from so many of you and being able to have those conversations with you, and you really reaffirming just how much this organization means in the greater region. There's a lot of options out there, but you have definitively said the Westmoreland Symphony Orchestra means a lot to you, and that's been huge, to say the least bit.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you don't really appreciate what you have until it's gone. And the fact that we weren't together, sharing the same space and sharing this great music, was tough for all of us. And the fact that people were supporting us, still giving at a very generous level, still saying we want this symphony to make it through this pandemic, it just meant the world to us. And of course, you've put us on good footing to start off the year in really great shape. I mean, we're not suffering. We're offering a full menu of concerts just like we did before the pandemic. So it's full steam ahead, I think, for the 21-22 season.
I think without further ado, Daniel, let's talk about this season. Let's talk about this celebration of classical music of this region, of all the wonderful things that have happened and continue to happen in our area. Would you like to sort of tee us off a little bit?
Absolutely. We're going to be starting on Saturday, October 23rd with our opening night, and we're bringing the wonderful violinist Jennifer Frautschi. She's a fabulous American violinist whom I've had the great pleasure of working with in the past with several other orchestras, and have just been waiting for the right moment to bring her to Westmoreland. And finally, she's coming to play the Saint-Saëns Third Violin Concerto, written for Sarasate. It is a gem. It's a masterwork. It really shows off the pyrotechnics of a violin soloist, but also it just has great tunes, great melodies. And I think it's something that Jennifer's really going to pull off beautifully. We're going to match that up with the sparkling Marriage of Figaro overture. It's only about 3.5 minutes, but boy, does it pack a punch. It's a great way to start the season. And then we'll finish up with Jean Sibelius's, I think it's his most famous, certainly most well-loved symphony. It's his Symphony Number 2. It owes certain debt to Tchaikovsky and that great romantic spirit, but Sibelius goes his own way. He really finds his own way to project this incredible ingenuity and this craft of composition, but also the power and the generosity of a full orchestra playing together. I wanted something that would feature the orchestra and show off not only the individual players, but just the power, the sheer beauty and power of the whole orchestra playing together at the same time. And that's frankly why I chose the Second Symphony to start off this new season.
It's going to be a good season when we're talking about excitement, talking about pyrotechnics, and it's only concert one. I think that's a fantastic way to go from there. And we are, I think is one of the best things about this orchestra, about this area, is that we are so rooted in tradition, and we're so happy that we can carry on traditions this year, and bring back the Nutcracker Ballet, sort of reimagined, a little bit different, new partners. Could you talk about that a little bit, Daniel?
Sure. So 2 full performances, and they're both on December 11th. There's a late morning performance at 11 a.m. and then an afternoon matinee at 3 p.m. Both are at the Palace Theater. Texture Contemporary Ballet is our dance partner for this particular set of performances. We're really thrilled. I mean, we're going to perform the full score live, which is rare, frankly, in our part of the world. It's rare to hear a Nutcracker that's not danced to a CD or a recording, but we're doing it live with the wonderful musicians of the Westmoreland Symphony Orchestra, and Texture Contemporary Ballet are going to put their new spin on the choreography and on this timeless classic. But I think it's going to be wonderful. I'm really looking forward to working with them and collaborating with a new set of dancers. But at the end of the day, it's a great holiday tradition. It's one that grandparents attend with parents, that attend with grandchildren, friends and family, aunts and uncles. It's really an opportunity for us to connect with our community in a way that's unique to this part of the world, to get a chance to hear this absolute classic of Tchaikovsky performed by live dancers with beautiful scenery, beautiful sets, beautiful costumes, and a live orchestra in the pit. It just can't be beat.
We can't kick off the holidays in the right fashion without doing Home for the Holidays, coming up on the 18th of December. Daniel, would you love to sort of talk to us about all the exciting plans for that?
Sure. It's our annual Home for the Holidays concert. It's a beautiful collection of music that you already love and a few pieces that might be new to you, but it's a beautiful holiday concert that features the music of the season. We're also collecting the wonderful young voices of the All-Star Choir. These are the finest young high school voices in our area, in our county, and they're all conducted by David Emanuelson, who's the new director of courses at Hempfield High School. He's just chomping at the bit to get to work with the students. He's really excited to have this really top talent all together in the same room, singing together, and we're choosing some really lovely music for them. We'd also going to have a few surprises up our sleeve and some soloists. So if you want to think about it, it's a beautiful variety concert that has a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but it's really designed to truly get you into the spirit of the holiday. It's very close to Christmas. So, if you haven't finished your shopping by then, this will be a really nice respite to just take a few moments of break with your family and just really get into the spirit of the season and enjoy the beautiful music that's related to this time of the year. And I always enjoy putting these concerts together. One, because there's a tradition behind them and there's a certain set of expectations that go along with those traditions. But also, how can we breathe some new life into this format? How can we find some music that might be a little bit off the beaten path or something that you may not know yet, but will just become an instant classic? It's kind of my job as curator of these concerts to keep it fresh, but also to stay within these beautiful traditions that have already been established with the great music from this holiday.
Really, and not to mention the Palace Theater, all decorated for the holidays with all the trimmings and the trees and everything else, which is always so beautiful. Daniel, it sounds like the falls can be quite busy. Talk about our spring concerts.
Absolutely. So in February, this is, of course, the weekend leading up to Valentine's Day. The concert's on February 12th, and we're bringing the wonderful young American pianist, Michael Brown, to make his debut with the Westmoreland Symphony. And he's going to play Ravel's Piano Concerto in G, which is very jazzy. It's very fresh. It's so beautiful, really has wonderful moments of repose and just sheer beauty. So I thought this would make a great Valentine's weekend concerto. And Michael has such dexterous fingers. He's just a wonderful technician at the piano, in addition to a soulful player. So I think this concerto is going to be right up his alley with the jazz elements and also the really beautiful elements. We're starting off the concert with Paul Dukas' overture to La Pairie, which is this amazing, it's only about 3 or 4 minutes, but it just showcases the brass section of the orchestra so beautifully. It's just this really bright and joyous fanfare for the brass. And then we finish up with music of César Franck. He's actually Belgian born, but spent most of his adult life in Paris. Wrote this amazing romantic era symphony in D minor that's very much influenced by the colors and the textures of the organ. And when you listen to the story, it is like a musical story, but
it is.
Yeah, when you listen to this symphony, you get the sensation that you might be sitting in this enormous cathedral and just soaking in these incredible sounds. I love the way that he put this symphony together. It's really unlike any other composer of the same era. And it's kind of an outlier in that it's really the only symphony that we play of Franck, but it's so beautiful, so gorgeously written for the winds, the brass, and the strings. There's a lovely second movement where the harp is beautifully featured. I think it's a masterpiece. It's an underperformed, but certainly deserved symphony. And I think it'll make a nice counterpoint to the other French music on the program of Ravel and Dukas. 6th of March, we're putting together a fascinating program of Latin inspired music. We're going to be playing this wonderful classical era symphony of Arriaga. He was a contemporary of Mozart, Haydn, Beethoven. So it will sound like it's from that era, but it definitely has the spirit of the Iberian Peninsula. It has wonderful dance rhythms, really vital writing. I think it's a really, again, a masterpiece that a whole lot of people don't know, but it's a nice break from the Haydn and the Mozarts and the Beethovens, but very much of that particular era. And we're going to pair that with Joaquin Turina's The Bullfighter's Prayer. It's originally a string quartet that is transposed now into the full string orchestra. And imagine what's going through the mind and the psyche of a bullfighter before he steps out into the ring and potentially wins incredible fame and glory, or potentially meets his demise. So it's that incredible expectation that's built into the music. I think it's a fascinating work, and really one that will show off the string section of the WSO really well. And then we're bringing for the very first time a young soloist by the name of Hanzhi Wang, and she's playing the accordion. I think I've only been to one or two concerts in my life where the accordion was actually the featured solo instrument in front of the orchestra, but it makes a wonderful partner for the orchestra. First, because an accordion can make a massive sound, right? You can really get a lot of tone out of those instruments, and Hanzhi will dazzle you. I've never seen anyone play the accordion quite like she does. She is a true virtuoso on this instrument. And she's going to be playing Astor Piazzolla's Bandoneon Concerto, called Aconcagua. And this, the bandoneon is a relative of the accordion. It's a squeeze box instrument. It's significantly smaller than an accordion, but both instruments are virtuosic in being able to play melody and gorgeous harmony. And I'm just fascinated to see and to hear how she's going to tackle this concerto. The Piazzolla is, of course, very much tango influenced. Piazzolla was the master of Nuevo Tango in Argentina, and all of those elements will be wrapped into this music. I can't wait to work with Hanzhi. She's just got a great spirit and a great technical virtuosity, and I think the audience is going to love to hear something a little bit off the beaten path.
Yeah, I think she's going to be so unique and such a different way to expose people, because I think we've all sort of pigeonholed the accordion into one way it can only be heard, and I think she is just going to light that stage on fire. Again, talking about pyrotechnics, I mean, just seeing fingers flying up and down the sides of those buttons of the accordion, I think will just be fantastic. Daniel, and we go from something sort of very new and modern to very soul-filling and lush and full. And so happy to welcome back some very dear friends to close out the season in April.
So we're really excited to be working with our choral partners with the Westmoreland Symphony. And of course, we're talking about the WSO Chamber Singers, who will be prepared by our good friend, Mark Torrey. And they're going to be singing Beethoven's Mass in C, which is a full concerted mass that Beethoven wrote, frankly, for the same Prince Esterhazy that Haydn wrote his famous masses. So this could be used liturgically, but in most cases, you hear this mass in a concert setting. And that's where you will hear it, of course, with the Westmoreland Symphony, with some soloists from the Pittsburgh Opera who will be joining us. And we're going to pair that beautiful mass in C with music of Hilary Tan, who's a Welsh composer. She wrote a gorgeous little piece called With the Heather and Small Birds. And it's very much influenced by the beauty of nature and, of course, of bird song and bird calls. And we'll start the music with music of Johann Sebastian Bach. It's his famous suite in G minor, but arranged by the German composer Max Reger. It's funny, there's so many different ways to hear Bach. And when you hear Bach symphonically, either you're listening to the Great Passions, the choral works, or the Brandenburg Concerti. But then there's an incredible wealth of music that has been reimagined or rethought of, whether it's his organ music or violin music that's been recast for orchestra. And this is one of those cases where it's his great music, but it's rearranged for chamber orchestra, so it works really beautifully. So I'm excited about this pairing of Bach, a contemporary composer in Hilary Tan, and of course, Beethoven's iconic Mass in C major.
It's hard to go wrong then this season with a little bit of Beethoven, but yet have that ode to the now, and make sure that we're getting new composers at the podium at the same time, which I think is so very important. Daniel, it sounds like this is going to be a fantastic celebration of a season And we, again, I think we're just so excited to hopefully welcome folks back to their seat. And if they, if they can't join us in the hall, they have the option to take advantage of the live stream feed this year, which again is going to be even more beefed up than last year. We are working on a plan at the moment, soon to be executed, to have 6 cameras installed in the Palace Theater, up from 4 from last year. So 2 more angles that you can be right there in person, right next to all of your favorite musicians of the Westmoreland Symphony Orchestra. Of course, season subscriptions are on sale. Single tickets are also on sale. We are just so looking forward to this year, and as a subscriber, there are great perks that you can get, great cost savings, and extra tickets, but, exclusive contests. As a subscriber, you get to see those extra videos that Daniel records with our guest artists, and get to know about them, get to learn about them, have a little more insight into the concert, to make your experience even more rich. I mean, Daniel, what's it like to talk to all those different wonderful guest artists we have and hear those stories?
Well, frankly, Andy, it's a great opportunity for me personally, because I get a chance to renew a relationship with an artist with whom I had the great pleasure of working perhaps many years ago, like Jennifer Frautschi, and now I get to meet her again and just to figure out what's on her mind and get a chance to learn a little bit about her life and her artistic activities. And someone like Hanzhi Wang, whom I've never met before and have never worked with, it's a chance to establish a relationship before we even meet on the stage and perform for the first time. So I love getting a little insight into how they conceive their part and their interpretation of the particular piece that they're playing. But I also just like to get to know them from a personality standpoint and perhaps just understand something a little bit better about them before we become artistic collaborators on the Palace Theater stage. So I really love it. And I hope that people also enjoy the chance to get to know these artists a little bit better.
And of course, it goes without saying that the Palace Theater really is trying to take your safety to heart and really ensure that we can safely join together at the theater. They've upgraded their air filtration systems, installed UV lighting, they're spraying all the seats down. They're trying to keep us as safe as possible. So that is going to be a nice addition for this year. So I think above anything, we are just so excited to have music back. And I'm sure, Daniel, you can speak for the musicians, just what an exciting moment this is.
I think you said it beautifully. There's an energy and there's a beauty of how the audience interacts with the orchestra and how the orchestra interacts with the audience. And we truly do feed off of that energy and that level of attention. And there's a heightened awareness that comes at concert time. I feel it. I know our musicians feel it. It's even if we had a great dress rehearsal, the concert just is that much more special because we finally get to share all of our work and all of our passion and all of our love for this music with people that are there to listen to it and to experience it and watch it and see this incredible orchestra playing all together and essentially interfacing and bringing the passion behind the notes into reality. So it's that live performance that I think always inspires us. It spurs me on to many more performances and really to do our best to give you absolutely everything that you're expecting in a great performance with this beautiful music.
Yeah, so wonderfully put. It is just such a thrill, I think, to be able to have everyone back this year, to be able to safely gather and to just celebrate this wonderful orchestra that we have, these very talented musicians, of course, under the direction of Artistic Director Daniel Meyer. Daniel, thank you for joining us today. We hope to see everyone soon.
Absolutely, Andy. And I just want to take this opportunity to say thank you for being such a great steward of this wonderful orchestra, and to thank our audience for being so supportive of us over the past year and a half. And we're just thrilled to have you back in the hall. We're thrilled to be able to share this music with you in person, live, or whether you also watch the live stream. We're just thrilled to be able to do what we do best, and that's make great music.
Fantastic. We hope to see you soon at the Palace Theater. Thanks so much.